All right, I'm Yoru Fitz. I'm here with.
Jaton Brady.
Cool. So, do you mind giving people a little bit background on who you are? Where you currently are. What do you do?
Okay, so like I said, my name is Jaton. It's like baton, but with a J. And
Extra.
I I work in fashion. I work at Coach, and I'm the VIP relations manager. So I'm pretty much like the bridge between celebrities and the brand.
Oh, dope. So you said you can get us a free bag.
I mean,
Okay, the
I didn't
plug.
say
Okay,
that.
okay. I see it. I see it. I heard, but maybe I'm hearing things. So, how long? Like, has fashion always been something that you've had an affinity for?
I would say yes. So when I was 17, I wanted to be it's called a consumer psychologist, and that's pretty much someone who like curates stores and all of the advertising and the branding to get people to buy product. And then I was just like, okay, that seems really interesting. And then I just at the same time simultaneously fell in love with fashion, and I was like, I really want to work in fashion. And then so I started interning. My first internship was at W Magazine. I was an editorial intern, and then I interned for Michael Kors, and that's where I started my PR career. And then I did a bunch of like agencies, and then I went in-house, and now I'm at Coach.
So, when you say the word intern, like, what do interns really do? Because my head just goes to the movie The Devil Wears Prada. And I don't even know how accurate that is. But I just know in my head, I feel like you're running around getting coffee
Yeah.
and people are treating you like less than dirt. Like, is there any reality to that?
I would say currently, no, that is not a reality. So I will say interns do a lot more now, and they have a lot more flexibility to learn and more opportunity to learn. I feel like when I was an intern, it was a little rough. We did do like coffee runs, and we did do a lot of like the hard work, like the boxing and the shipping things out, and that's pretty much all we would do.
So like
Whereas
video.
now, as an intern, you still do the hard labor boxing things because that's how you learn. But you do get an opportunity to be on to learn a little bit more than I feel like
Okay.
in the past.
So you're more closer to the actual field. Like, you're actually doing fashion in terms of what
Yeah.
you came
So
to
like
do.
right now, like interns, the coffee run thing that doesn't happen now, just because of a lot of like laws that have been passed, and a lot of companies are now implementing like structured internship programs. So
Got it. So who gets the coffee? They have to do it themselves?
we get our own coffee.
Wow, that's
I get
unfortunate.
my own coffee.
Yeah. Sheesh. So, fashion, 17. So it's kind of there's a timeline to when you knew that
Yeah.
this was for you. So when you think of the word purpose, like what comes to mind when you think of purpose?
Um, God,
Okay.
life, and meaning. So you put it together, it's God giving meaning to your life.
And you think he's done that in the guise of fashion.
Certainly. Like, and over the last like 2 years, I've definitely like seen God like really move in my life within my career. And it's solidified like this is why I have you here. It was never about you.
That clarity must provide some peace for you.
Yeah.
If you mind sharing, like, what is one of those things where you felt like, yeah, like I'm supposed to be here?
Um okay. So my coordinator at my last job, I used to work at Moose Knuckles, which is an outerwear brand. If you don't have the coat, you should get one. And see, I'm still plugging them, even though I'm
Right.
not there anymore. I met my last coordinator on the train. I never take New Jersey Transit, ever, ever, ever. So I met her, this was before I was even at Moose Knuckles. And 2 years later, I needed a coordinator. She needed a job, and it just worked. And I just feel like God, like, he ordered our steps that we would meet at that time because 2 years later, we needed each other. And I was
Yeah.
able to plug her into Moose Knuckles.
Yeah, and especially, you
And-
had to take the train, God forbid.
Yeah. And I never knew I was going to be at Moose Knuckles. She was just moving to New York City. She had just graduated college, and it just worked out.
Divine timing. So do you think, like, the odds of being on the train at the same time with someone who is in position to help you is just it's very interesting, because I feel like we all have these times in our lives where it's like, I met this person there and I didn't know that I would need them later. Do you think that really helped you understand that your purpose was, that Moose Knuckles was part of your purpose?
Yeah, that made me know that God wanted me there. And the interesting thing about it was the minute she became a full-time coordinator, my time at Moose Uncles was over. And then I moved on to coach. And
Wow.
now the same thing's happening at coach. Like my old intern for me like 4 years ago, he just started at coach last week.
Wow.
A really good friend of mine from a few years ago, she just started at coach maybe like 3 months ago. So, and I was able to connect the dots for them and bring them into those opportunities.
So it definitely sounds like fashion is your purpose, and you've different signs from God and different, connections being made that you've been able to find yourself from Moose Knuckles to coach. So do you feel like this is what living in your purpose looks like to you? Like, is this what you envision it would look like?
Um, I think that I became comfortable with the whole idea of, because when people say purpose, you think like, oh my God, what is my purpose? What am I going to do in the world to make a difference in all of these things?
Yeah.
We make it so much bigger than it needs to be, where it can be pretty simple. And I also believe that your purpose can change per the season that you are in your life.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
this is just my purpose right now. I feel like God is using me in my career to help different people. And I don't really think that fashion per se is my purpose. I think that helping people is my purpose, because I've noticed over the last year, every time I meet someone, I'm like, okay, who do I know that can help them? Like, how can I help them? Like, how can I connect? What do they need and what do I know that I can use to help them?
Yeah. I mean, even you being here today is a byproduct of that. So, I mean, that's living example. To get to your purpose, you have to be selfish to a degree.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't disagree, but I mean, maybe you disagree, but like any of the greatest people in any of their fields they've obsessed over it to the
Yeah.
point where they've sacrificed different relationships in their
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So in achieving your purpose, how do you balance that selfishness, or is it there? Like, how have you experienced that?
Um, I think that, of course, okay, so when you are going after something or you're going after a goal in your life, there is an amount of selfishness that you have to have. And I think we need to take the negative connotation off of being selfish.
Yeah.
Like, everybody thinks it's so bad and it's so negative, and it's not necessarily, because that's just the season that you are in your life, and sometimes you just need to be selfish. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So I think that if you are in line with what God has for you and it causes you to have to be selfish in certain areas of your life, then I think you're on the right path.
I would agree. I think choosing yourself historically has a negative connotation. I do think today there's not a problem with that. I think people kind of champion choosing yourself. And I think it can kind of get into a toxic, like I feel like there's a toxic place you can get into where you think everything you're doing is choosing yourself.
Yeah.
When you're just really just not being a genuine person.
Yeah.
And I think finding that balance between how you move towards your purpose and being real and transparent to yourself and other people around you allows you to do both. Like, I don't think selfishly choosing yourself means you have to be a bad person to other people.
Yeah.
I think there's a transparency that can live there. Now, how do you stay motivated towards your purpose, especially with you saying, fashion might just be a tool that helps you help people. But let's say that tool would be to change. I know you said you're kind of at a point at coach where there may be some changes that you obviously take part in moving forward. If that helping people would kind of push you to a different industry, how would you approach that?
Okay, what was your question? Which exactly?
So my question was, your purpose is to help people.
Yeah.
And right now you're in the industry of fashion. Now, if that purpose were to change in terms of what industry you are in, how would you stay motivated? Like, would your motivation change?
No, because I think that for me that it's probably going to be super spiritual, but I try to align myself with God. So I didn't know that my purpose was going to be to help people.
Yeah.
Never thought, like 10 years ago, Jaton, like when I was in my 20s, I never thought like I'm going to like be in these places and these huge platforms where these huge fashion brand.
Yeah.
I thought it was about me. I thought it was like, because I'm going to be cool and I'm going to work in fashion. This is what I want to do. And then what started happening was I started just like organically helping people. And then I started to just like really love it. And it gave me so much joy just to see like people being able to like get jobs and connect them with different people and, you know, be a resource for people. So it just ultimately started making me happy and just motivates me to want to do more to help people. So regardless of like the industry or if my job was to change, or if my purpose was to change altogether, like God's like, all right, so that was the season you were in your life where I put you in these different spaces so that you could help people and bring people in. But now it's no longer that, it's going to be this. I think that I would, you know, again, align with God and be okay with it.
Now, do you think at times there's a struggle with becoming your purpose? So like you're Jaton, you have your own character, you're your own person, you have your own relationships and things you like to do. How do you balance not becoming your purpose?
Um, I think it's like my purpose has become so much like me. Like it doesn't even feel like I have to go out of my way to accomplish it. I just feel like it's just me living my everyday life and, you know, going to work and meeting people and then finding out, oh, you need a job. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need to know who works there. It just organically happens. So for me, I don't feel like I necessarily have to balance it because I feel like it's just kind of like a part of me. And I just organically and willingly do so.
So does that part of being you, did that like that part doesn't get exhausting? Because what happens if you like helping people, but I think part of that game is you may help people who don't want to help themselves in that particular time.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I mean, like at that point, there ain't nothing I can do. Like, I'm not gonna. I mean, there have been times where like I would talk to people and it would like not go anywhere, and I'm just like, okay,
What's going
well,
on?
you know, I put it out there. Like,
Yeah, okay.
now if you ever need me again, the door is open. I'm
Yeah.
not one of those people who are like, oh, well, you know, I tried to help you and you didn't want to take my help and now I'm over it. Like, no. Like, hey, I threw out the lifeline. You didn't. Either you take it or you don't. It's totally up to you. But yeah, I'm not gonna keep knocking at someone's door who doesn't want the help. Like, I'm gonna offer my services, let you know I'm here, and hey, you do with you do what you want with that.
Yeah. But I think it's like helping people, like I've always thought there's like a personal gratification component that comes. Like you feel good when you help people.
Yeah.
And I always tell people the business of helping people can get selfish. And that kind of sounds, I guess when you hear it, it's like, what do you mean? But it's like, why am I helping people? Am I helping people because this is my purpose, it's put on me? Or am I helping people because it makes me feel good and that somehow gives me a form of justification for who I am?
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to be very careful with that, with myself as well, that it didn't validate who I was. And Jaton is this person because she did this, and this. So, like, people come to me and they're like, yeah, I have this job because of Jaton. I'd be like, no, you do not have that job because of me. You
Yeah.
got that job because of God. Because, I mean, yeah, you do. Because I didn't interview. I just kind of like pointed you in the right direction. I connected you with the right person. But you and God did the rest.
Yeah.
So don't give me credit.
You were just a tool.
Yeah, I was just a vessel.
Yeah.
I always said that I am just a vessel. Like I was just the person who connected the dots, but like ultimately you did the work. You put the work in, and if you believe in God, you prayed to King Jesus, and you know.
Was
he
that
made it
something?
work.
Was that something innate, or did you have to learn that? Like, because I'm sure if you're helping people and it's like like okay, yeah, God did this, but it's like, yeah, like I set up the interview. Like,
No.
there was never any challenge in that.
No.
So you always felt that it was
Yeah.
bigger than you.
Always. I'm like, this is so much bigger than me. Like, never felt like it was me. I'm that girl. Like, yeah, I know I'm that girl, but when it got like literally this one girl, she always says, "Oh yeah, Jaton got me the job." I'd be like, "Girl, I did not get you that job. God got you that job." And she's like, "No, but you." I'm like, "No, I didn't." No, I never feel like it never makes me feel like, you know, big or.
Well, I think that's a pro to have, because I think especially one thing I always kind of take away when I'm talking to people about any conversation about God or faith, when someone doesn't believe what you believe in, it's almost like you're trying to explain English to a mathematician.
Oh my gosh,
And
for sure.
you have to be careful to like, okay, I believe this, but in your world, you may not believe this. So when I'm explaining things that affect both of us, I need to respect where I come from,
Yeah.
as well as account for where you come from.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to explain to someone my purpose is this, and I believe my purpose is to help people, but all I can see is, hey, Jaton sent an email to him, and next thing I knew, I got the job. So
Yeah.
this guy she's talking about, it sounds great, but I ain't never meet him.
But I think that gives me a door and an avenue with them, because I've also had like people come to me and say like, honestly, before I met you, like God was but like witnessing your life
Yeah.
and what he has done through you, I'm like, he gotta be real. Like I've had people come and tell me that, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And then to piggyback off of something you said, I think that God knew he could trust me with, you know, helping people and putting me in these different rooms and these different brands where I could plug other people, because he knew I wouldn't take credit for it.
Yeah, and
like ultimately, I always say it's God. And even where I am, people be like, "Oh, how did you do that?" I'd be like, honestly, number one, God. Get right with him, and things will start moving.
I think it's interesting you say that, because to prepare, like, who knows what you have experienced in college or even in high school that was preparing you to become the person God could use to help people to get where it needed to go.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't even think about it now. It's like, I've always thought this way, but you may have had experiences where you realize, yeah, this is bigger than me. And my purpose to help people has been put there by an entity that I could never fathom in its entirety. So when people say, oh, my purpose is to help people, and I just use fashion to do it, it's so easy to give someone else credit, because everything that has brought you to where you currently are, the credit belongs to God. So I think it's an interesting perspective to understand that from where you've been able to.
Yeah.
So, Coach, in a perfect world, what would you like? Where would you like to take it next? You already worked at Moose Knuckle, and we're expecting that coat, and now Coach, so a coat and a bag. So what are we thinking next? Like, where's the next place that's gonna get us some merch from Jaton?
I don't know. I'm very happy and content where I am right now.
Okay.
Learning a lot. It's fun. So I haven't thought about like what's my next like move just yet. I will say, I just lost my whole train of thought.
Hey man,
I will
traveling too many places.
I will say, definitely, like literally just lost my train of thought.
That's on me?
Yes, 'cause I had something to say. I will say, yeah, so learning a lot at Coach. I haven't really like thought about like what's my like next move yet.
Yeah.
I plan on staying there for a bit. I've only been there for a year in
Oh, wow, okay,
August.
dope.
So
Cool, congratulations,
it's
coming
pretty
up.
new. Yeah, it's coming up, my anniversary. I made it. But yeah, I'm happy there.
That's
So,
good.
Probably be there for a while.
I like that. Coach, I'm sure, is lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
So I would just like to say thank you for coming out, having this conversation, giving us some insight into, your
course.
purpose and
Yeah.
how God has driven you and been in your life to help other people. You have anything else you want to share with people? Any shout outs? Anything you want to plug?
No, I think I'm good. But
Dope.
if anyone needs help, let me know. Anything to make somebody win. That's my slogan.
Bet. We respect
yeah.
it. Well, this is Jaton. I'm Yoru Fitz, and this is Inside the Vibe. Catch you with the next one. Peace.